Welcome back to the Irish Bandit channel, or if you're new here, welcome to the channel. I, as always, am your host, the one, the only, the second Irish Bandit. This week we are back in the dojo. We are still talking about Cobra Kai, my favorite show on Netflix. I've said it before and I'll keep saying it. It is by far my favorite show on Netflix currently. And this week we are talking about season 2 and my top 5 favorite episodes of that season. This was just a fantastic season, a great continuation from the first, and just up the stakes in everything. And you see that especially with the final episode, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. So let's talk about my 5 favorite episodes. We're kicking off with number 5. This was just a great episode, and it's the title of a great AC/DC song called Back in Black. At this point in the season, John Kreese is already trying to weasel his way back into Cobra Kai, trying to get on Johnny's good side, play on his emotions. So you see that here with Johnny and Kreese when they're doing extra training with the Cobra Kais, when they take them, do the not so safe practice of putting them inside the tumbler of a cement mixer and having them push it to try to work as a team. You also see that on the other side with Miyagi-Do, with Daniel's first 2 students, Sam and Robbie, trying to get their balance. And I thought that was so well done between Tanner Buchanan and Mary Mauser. Just the movements that they do, it just looked so good and so fluid. But yeah, great acting. And something I'm gonna rave about is pretty much every entry is the great acting. So we'll just say that now and leave that for the rest of the video. But so well done. I think like I said, the choreography for Robbie and Sam's practice training was really well done. It looked very good. Just the visuals as well, with Kreese and Johnny just kind of putting some discipline into the Cobra Kai members with the whole tumbler thing. Because before you got to that point, they were kind of slacking off. Like, yeah, you won the All Valley, good for you, but just because you won, don't rest on your laurels. That's what I got from it anyway. So, yeah, just a great episode, and I thought, just wonderful overall. So well done. Coming in at number 4, another great episode. I'm going to say that about everything here because I think every episode is great. There's not one that I don't like, but this one especially. Coming in at number 4, Lull. So I haven't really talked the synopsis of every episode, but I wanted to do that for this one because I didn't really remember it to begin with. But then once I saw the images, I was like, okay, I remember that episode now. It is to prepare his students, Daniel gives some new training methods a shot. Miguel puts a new lesson into practice, while Johnny makes a tough but pivotal decision that affects Cobra Kai. I remember this episode for one reason and one reason only: the introduction of Stingray. Raymond was a character who was introduced to the Cobra Kai universe earlier in the season. Don't know why my tablet came to life, but whatever. He was introduced earlier in the season to the Cobra Kai universe. He was a employee at a home improvement store, gabbing up with Johnny, and then he wants to join Cobra Kai. Well, he takes that whole philosophy hawk hat of flipping the script and becomes Stingray. And yeah, I've seen a lot of people complain about Stingray in the past, but when you see him at the beginning of season 2 and you take a look at where he is now in season 5, I think he's completed such an arc. But we'll talk about that when we talk about season 5. Like I said, that's probably not going to be until around season 6, so gonna have to hold off for that one. But yeah, this episode was great. I love the Coyote Canyon sequence when Johnny takes a team of Cobra Kai, Kreese takes a team of Cobra Kai, and splits them off and pairs them against each other. So you have like this capture the flag type scenario with both teams, and you see Cobra Kai's 2 best fighters going at it with with Miguel and Hawk. So that was really well done. I love the fight sequences in this episode. It was just so well done. This episode is by far the most emotional for this season for a lot of reasons. It has some great nostalgia to it for the original Cobra Kai's in the Karate Kid movie, and just added on top of that what would happen just not even a year later after the end of this episode. This is a great episode and gets me every time. Coming in at number 3, Take a Right. One day, Johnny receives a phone call that informs him of some bad news. So he takes a little trip and meets up with some of the original Cobra Kai members who we met in the Karate Kid all those many years ago. This was such an emotional episode because we've seen how all the members of Cobra Kai have matured over the years, especially Johnny. Like, sure, he still has his times when he's, living in the past, but he's really matured a lot at this point with opening up Cobra Kai and just giving these kids new direction. So when they're all sitting around talking about what we're doing now, like one of them's a pastor, the main crux of this is that Bobby, who, if you don't remember Bobby from the original movie, his big moment in Karate Kid was, get him a body bag, yeah! So, so the whole story of the episode is that Bobby is dying of an unknown disease. I think it's cancer. It's never really said, but the way it's all portrayed out, I've seen that before. He's in hospice care, so it's something terminal. Johnny, who's it? I know Johnny, Bobby. I don't remember the other names of the other two. I know Duke's not there because the guy who played Duke doesn't want to return to do anything related to Cobra Kai or Karate Kid. But you had 4 Cobra Kai members, and they're all taking the 3 Cobra Kai members, and they're taking Bobby out in one last motorcycle excursion. They stop at a roadside pub and have some drinks and chat about the old times and what they're doing now. And when Johnny says that he's got Cobra Kai back up and running, they're like, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" He's like, "Yeah." Then he tells them about seeing Kreese again, and it's like, "Oh God, you remember what happened last time? Don't let that man back into your life, Johnny." But it was such a beautifully done episode, and that ending is so heartbreaking when, like, the first streams of The Show Must Go On by Queen starts playing, and you know something's wrong when you hear one of them go, Bobby, come on, Bobby, wake up. And you also have Kreese talking over this, giving just this menacing dialogue, ending with Cobra Kai never dies, and seeing the body bag being zipped up over Bobby after he's passed away from his disease. What makes this part even more heartbreaking is that just before the release of season 3, Rob Garrison, who played Bobby in The Karate Kid and this episode of Cobra Kai, actually did pass away. So to me, that makes it even more heartbreaking. But this is still a fantastic episode. It's one of my favorites. Like, not just of this season, it's one of my favorites of the series overall. And just beautifully done, beautifully acted. Just everything about this is just great. And then you have the other story where Miguel's kind of not really sure of Kreese. And we know that Kreese isn't to be trusted. Miguel is picking up on that. But I think Johnny is too blind with his loyalty to totally dismiss Kreese at this point. But again, so well done from everybody involved. Coming in at number 2, I should say, not number 3, we just talked about number 3. A great episode that comes later in the season, and it was funny because when I was watching this episode, I was hearing this song playing, and I'm like, who is that? And found the song, absolutely love the song, and I think of it every time I think of Cobra Kai, every time I hear it, because I think it's a great song. Coming in at number 2, Fire and Ice. Now, this is only the 3rd episode of the 2nd season, so let's see. Daniel pulls out all the stops in an effort to recruit new students to Miyagi-Do. What he does is he decides to, because LaRusso Auto Group is a major sponsor of Valley Fest, he decides to put on a little show for the people in attendance to show them what Miyagi-Do is all about. Johnny reflects on some of the major relationships in his life and responds to Daniel's promotional efforts with his own. Yeah, and the way they do that upstaging of Miyagi-Do is actually really well done. They come in doing the whole Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai, Cobra Kai, and just put on an excellent display, honestly and truthfully. Daniel was going to finish up the Miyagi-Do display with what he did in Okinawa in Karate Kid 2, when they had like the 6 blocks of ice and he just chopped right through them like they were nothing. Johnny comes along and breaks flaming cinder blocks with his fist. So, or I guess it was more of his hand than his fist. You don't do that, you break your fist. But, you know. Anyway, but yeah, what I was saying earlier is that it really got me to love the song Back in the Game by Airborne. I like Airborne to begin with, but this song just made me really, really love them more. So, again, well done episode. The choreography in this, something I say for every episode because, you know, it is so based around martial arts and karate that the choreography, the fight scenes are just so well done, even if they're just something like showing off what they know for karate. So that was all well done. I love the Valley Fest scene. It was a particularly well done scene. I love that Raymond showed up again. He's, you know, talking to somebody about, oh, that's a bow staff. Donatello's my favorite Ninja Turtle. Oh man, yeah, so good, so good. But yeah, again, this is another one of my favorite episodes, not only of this season, but overall for all 5 seasons. I thought this was a great episode and just wonderfully, wonderfully done. My favorite episode of this season is the season finale. Oh, wow. Just talk about upping the stakes and everything. This is exactly what this episode does. It ups the stakes and just brings everything to a terrifying new level. My favorite episode of number 2 is the final episode of the season, No Mercy. So there was a lot going on in this episode that carried over from the previous episode. The Miyagi-Dos and the Cobra Kais were at a party together, not voluntarily at a party together, but some stuff almost broke out. You saw tension between Dimitri and Hawk. You saw tension between Tori and Sam. You saw something happen between Sam and Miguel that shouldn't have happened because Miguel was with Tori at this point and Robbie was with Sam as well. So you had that all happening. So that carried over into this episode where it's the first day of school and a giant karate fight breaks out in the hallways. But it was so well done. Like, I think when we talk about season 3 next week, you know, the fight at the end of that season really was a lot better than this one. But for this episode, it just worked because you had everything going on. You had so many fights you had to focus in on. You had Robbie and Miguel. You had Tori and Sam. You had you had Dimitri and Hawk. And then you had everything else like Chris and Mitch and Aisha, and everybody's just throwing kicks, throwing punches. You have Stingray in there trying to be the security guard, and he's beating up every Miyagi-Do he can get his hands on, even though he's 38 years old and they're teenagers. Of course, Hollywood teenagers, but whatever. Actually, there are a few of them that I think are teenagers, but you never know. They should just be small adults. Everything in this episode just worked. Just the pacing of the episode was fantastic. Dialogue, acting, again, the fight choreography was top notch in this episode. Of the 9 episodes that preceded, the fight choreography was the best in this one. And then you have just that heartbreaking ending when Miguel shows a little bit of mercy to Robbie and doesn't, you know, toss him over the banister, and Robbie just snaps, kicks Miguel over the banister, and Miguel gets hurt. And then you see the ramifications after that. Just Johnny, the relationship between Johnny and Carmen starts to crumble. You see cracks in Daniel and Amanda's relationship because she's like, no, Daniel, I don't want any more of this karate BS invading our lives. And you see that with Sam as well because she was beaten so badly by Tori. But again, this episode just worked. And again, this is another one of this isn't only just my favorite episode of this season, it's also one of my all-time favorite episodes. I don't know if it's my favorite episode, but it's really, really close. It's really close. But this is the episode that, if you're not sure about Cobra Kai, this is one you should watch. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff you don't know going into it if you're only starting at the final episode of season 2 and didn't watch any episode before that. But it's so well done. Everyone just gives it their all, and it's just a great way to end out season 2. But what did you think of Cobra Kai? Let me know in the comments section down below. I'd really love to read your opinion on this. While you're down there, don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. In the description, you're going to see all the ways you can help support this channel. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and Reddit. You can buy your Irish Bandit merchandise at my Redbubble shop at redbubble.com. You can pick up your copy of Shade Falling, my very first novel, on Amazon. You can get that through Kindle, or you can buy a paperback edition. And now you can buy me a coffee, where I have a goal going on where I'm going to upgrade my setup and get some sweet new Elgato gear. So let's see if we can make that happen. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, tap the bell and you'll be notified whenever a brand new video goes live. I will be back tomorrow with more BioShock. I'm having such a good time playing that game. So we're gonna go into a little bit more tomorrow. And then I'll be back on Thursday with another booking video where I talk about how I would book the return of Piper Niven. Not Dewdrop, Piper Niven. And that is a big clue for what I have in store. So be sure to join me for that. And of course, coming up very soon, we got more Hush Hush, we got more Final Fantasy VIII, and a big announcement very soon about what's coming up after I'm done Final Fantasy VIII. So be sure to join me for all of that. It's going to be wow. I'm a little overwhelmed going 5 days a week, but whatever. I can do it. And writing a book at the same time. Well, whatever. I'll get it done. like I said in the update video, time management. Anyway, hope you guys have a great rest of the day, and I will talk to you again tomorrow for more BioShock. Until then, take care.